Hey there! It happens that once in a while a colleague finds out that you like fountain pens. And in this case, a colleague came to me and said, so I got this in a stationary advent calendar. I realize it is nothing fancy, but it doesn't really write properly, I think. Then I went online. I found, of course, one of your videos. You talked about baby's bottoms. I think it has that. Do you agree? Could you have a look at it? So I said yes, because it's kind of fun. I mean, I'm not a nibmeister. I don't really enjoy tremendous tinkering with pens, but once in a while I do enjoy this. So what I thought we would do is kind of record the diagnostic process and then trying to fix it, what the issue is. Understanding very well that I'm not a nibmeister. If you're a professional nibmeister, please just look away. Just look away. It's nothing's going to be pretty, but I have found some, I'm just going to call it hacks, because that's exactly the right word in every meaning of that word. There are some quick and dirty tricks that can help out. So let's see. I have no idea what the brand of this pen is. My guess is it came from China, and that we should therefore maybe have a look at, not therefore, and there we should have a look at why it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, which is write. Now that looks like about a number 5 nib. It says Genius Iridium. We'll take their word for it. And when I turn it around, I already see an issue. I'm going to try to zoom in. Hope this still focuses. Do you also see the issue? Because that is not really a healthy setting for a nib and a feed. That nib sticks out too far, and as a result the ink has to travel too far through the slit, and that can also make it dry. So for sure this nib needs to go down further. Shoulders of the feed, shoulders of the nib should be about aligned, and they are clearly not. So beyond that, there's another thing that I immediately see, or maybe strictly speaking don't see. Where's the slit? There's almost no slit between the tines visible, which makes me think that slit's probably too tight. And as a result, that will also hamper ink flow. And then finally, there is, of course, the actual problem of baby's bottoms. So I like to put this down. It's not going to be great on camera, but I mean, I like to look at it sort of this way. Again, there's also, it's not very clear because you also have the reflection of my desk lights in there. But when you look at it kind of this way, you may see at the bottom of the nib kind of that sort of rounded shape, and that is baby's bottom. So I do think, I'm just holding this up, I know I can't really show you very well. I do see it a little bit here. I'll try to upload a picture on the website so that you have an idea of what that looks like. Okay, now we're going to have to fix that setting of the nib and feed in the nib collar. My expectation is that the whole nib collar is going to come out. We can try to put some shellac on that. Now, nib and feed, I'm just going to try to pull them out. Hopefully that works. That does work, so that means it's probably not going to be very difficult to reset that. There's nothing about heat setting here. It's not an ebonite feed. Here we have that nib, and if I hold it like this, you can actually see, if you start at the breather hole, there is a little beam of light going up towards the tipping, but that I like it when that goes all the way up. So I'm going to have to increase that a bit. Now there's different ways of doing that. If you want to be very safe, you take a brass shim. This is 0.002 inches, and you run that through. Richard Binder says that the tip should just hold that. This is way too tight though. So I can try to run that through a couple of times, And then by doing so, that tends to open up that gap, in other words, the slit between the nib tines a little bit. That's not doing anything for the baby's bottoms. That's just making that nib slit wider. And the way I look at that is always this. My fingers are not super straight, so this is always a little difficult to demonstrate. But if you have the two tines of your pen and you look under a loop, the best thing is to hold it up against the light, not the sun, but just a window. Look through a loop, and if you see this, then you're going to have a very dry pen. I like that slit to look something like this. This is a bit exaggerated, so it's tapered towards the tips of the nib, away from the breather hole, and then, because ink flows through, comes through the channel in the feed, gets suspended in that nib slit, and then through capillary action gets sucked onto the paper. If you find that slit is too tight, this will make a pen very dry. And if it looks like this, so it tapers away from the breather hole, well, then you are really hampering capillary action, because then the ink has to flow from a narrow point to a wider point. That doesn't work. So you do want it to be kind of tapering, but ideally you want to be able to see a beam of light go through the nib when you hold it up to the light. Now I'm doing that here right now. Again, it's a little hard to capture on camera, but I can see that it's not terrible, but all the way at the tip it gets very, very tight. So what I like to do in such a case, and this is the point where nib mice should definitely look away, is I take a piece of metal. This is just a Visconti wrench that I bought from Dale Beebe of Pen Tooling years ago, but it's a nice solid straight block of metal. Very carefully, I like to take this nib, hold it as tightly as I can, making sure I don't overstress one side or the other, so as straight as I can, and then I just push a little bit while pulling it up. What that does is it tends to open up the tines. Now you don't want to bend anything deeply out of shape, so you have to be a bit careful with this. Sorry, when I say a bit careful, I mean extremely careful, but I've done this a number of times. I get pretty good results with it. I just hold it there for just a sec, and then I let it go. I have exerted minimal pressure, so don't go bending at a 90-degree angle, because then you have a Fuda nib. Once your nib looks like this, then you've overdone it faux show, so you don't want that. I just want that gap to appear. So I hold it up against the light again. Yeah, and it's actually pretty good now, because at this stage, I bet you my phone flashlight is maybe too bright for this, but I'm going to try. No, it doesn't work, does it? No, forget about it. Well, maybe. You can sort of see light shining through it. And when I hold it up against the light and I look through my loop, which I'm doing now, and I'm sorry it's off camera, but when I do that, I see light shining through it all the way until the end. And that too, I'll take a picture of and put on the website. Now, when you put all this together, note that when you look at this from the side, it doesn't look like the tines have been lifted up too much. Because when I put this back in on the feed, I don't want to have a gap between the nib and the feed. So if that happens, and it looked like that a bit on my LCD screen here, but I think that was just the reflection. You can see this, there is no gap there. I see if I can zoom in a little bit more, but I mean, there is no gap. So if I take a sheet of paper, that's just my notebook for the review. Sorry, this is not convenient because I have to hold it at a weird angle. It should not slip in between the two, and it does not slip in between the two. So that means that setting is now fine. At this point, I want to take just a napkin. I've been putting finger grease on it, right? It's just skin oil. So we'll make sure that is clean. Just cleaning that off. And now we should try to set things again. So I'm going to take that nib collar. It looks to me like there is a wider area on top there and a narrower area at the bottom. This is just groundbreaking television, isn't it? Like, people are like, you're holding your breath. Okay, so we started off with something like this, a setting like this. But that's not at all what I want. I want the shoulders of that nib and the shoulders of the feet to approximately line up. And this shouldn't be too complicated to accomplish. I'm just going to start with something like this. I kind of like that. I just make sure nib and feet are aligned properly, and I put them on my finger and I squeeze down hard with my thumb there. I find that broad spot. Sometimes I just like to rotate that nib collar, and at some point, see what happens here? See, now it slips in, so that's the right orientation. At that point, I slip the whole thing in, and then very carefully, I take the nib, kind of pushing on the shoulders, as light pressure as you can. Don't want to bend anything out of shape, but you just put some pressure on that. And now, this to me, this looks like a much healthier setting. We started off with the nib and feet really like the nib sticking out quite far. I don't want that. So this to me looks a lot healthier. I'm going to take a quick look with my loop, and I don't see a massive gap between the nib and the feet. You see a tiny bit there. That's not really going to be an issue. I don't expect any problem there. I don't expect any issues with that. Again, it passed that paper test, and if I look, again, it's a little hard, I know you can't really see this very well, but if I look like this, look at it like this, it looks like the two tines are still very well aligned. When you do that bending trick, and you're really doing this at your own peril, because this can go horribly wrong, I wouldn't do it with an expensive pen, but with something like this, a steel nib, it's fine. Be careful you don't mess up the tines where you push one up higher than the other. That's why I made such a point of make sure that you really put equal stress on that nib. Okay, so basically we're there. What I would like to do is take a little bit of shellac, which I had just now. I'm going to put this into the section, hopefully in such a way that it won't slide out so easily anymore. There's a bit of gunk coming out there. I'm just wiping that off. I'm going to zoom out a bit. I like to put shellac on this end, at the bottom end, because then when I shove it in, right, it's going to be pushed up a little bit, and that kind of covers it. So just have some shellac. Could you use other things? Yes, you could probably also use some super glue or something, whatever. I just like shellac because it's relatively harmless. I got this little bottle with an applicator from Anderson pens. I know they're sadly no longer there, but it was a nice little bottle with an applicator. You can get this elsewhere too. And then I'm just going to carefully slide this in. See, and now because the way I did that, you don't get it all rubbing off on the feet and on the nib. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe down, just to be sure everything's clean. And then we need to fiddle a bit with that nib, because I did see a tiny bit of baby's bottoms. Now I'm going to go very light on that. And the way I deal with it, and again, Nibmeisters, look away. Here is just 8000 grit micro mesh. I like to take a little bit of water. A little goes a long way. So I do some figures 8. I do some figures 8. I don't know why I did that with my index finger, but where I kind of go around this way. A little bit there, and then I look. And to me that looks already a bit tighter, so I don't see the sort of W shape that baby's bottom so much anymore. Okay, just fiddling a little bit more with that. Again, if you're a Nibmeister, look away. I never claimed to be a Nibmeister, but I have had some pretty good experience with this. Okay. Just drying that off. And then I polish it because now you have roughed up things a little bit. Just looking at it with a loupe, it looks fairly good. I think that with that nib being properly set in the feed, that's already going to help. And with it, the slit having been opened up a bit, I think that's also going to help. So here I have 12,000 grit micro mesh, very fine, just there for polishing. Very light pressure. I look forward to the angry emails about how terribly I'm doing this. But for now, I think we're pretty much there. I just want to look at my work again. Again, I'm sorry I can't really show you well. That looks pretty nice and smooth. If you have to take it farther, you can take a lower grit, and that will really take off a lot of tipping really quickly. So you have to be careful with that, but you could theoretically do that. Now, I'm just going to push in that converter. I'm holding on to the nib unit as I do that because that shellac has not set yet. Okay, we're going to ink this up. We're going to have a quick look. I haven't yet found a good way to tell the colleague that her slit was too tight without having HR be involved. So we'll think about some diplomacy there. For now, a quick check. Where's the barrel? Here's the barrel. I just put in some Waterman blue-black ink. It's a well-behaved ink, so that way I know that it's not really a problem of the pen anymore. This is an old writing sample. My hand is wet, sorry, that's why I was dragging the paper. Hello. Hello. This pen now writes more or less under its own weight. I have to help a little bit because it's plastic, it weighs almost nothing. But you would like to see a pen kind of write under its own weight. This is, I'm basically putting in no pressure. That's what you'd like to see. So, with such light pressure, I think those baby's bottoms have gone down. You see there's a little bit of a hard start. This is pretty much no pressure though on having the pen write on its own. With normal pressure, I think we may have fixed this. So there we are. That was certainly interesting. I hope this kind of talk-through process was helpful, has given you some ideas of what you can do if your pen doesn't write. The standard answer is send it to a nibmeister, because those are professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. They will not destroy your nib. But in this case, it's a very inexpensive pen. It might not be worth even the shipping cost of doing that, and that's perfectly fine. But even an inexpensive pen, you can often still get to write. And especially if you're not particularly worried about it, maybe doing something wrong, then it's kind of fun to fiddle with and you learn a lot of things about how to treat nibs. I have given some good and some bad examples here. So draw your own conclusions. That's it. Hope this was useful and I'm glad to see you later. Bye.